They said Auntie Viv had finally learned to live with the silence of her house, but the truth? Silence can be the loudest thing in the world. It had been almost a year since Uncle Raymond's death. The house still smelled faintly of his pipe tobacco and old leather. Every corner had a memory, and every shadow carried his voice. Auntie Viv had learned to make peace with it, or so she thought, until the night the storm came. She was cleaning the study, Raymond's private room. He'd always kept it locked, even from her. But now everything belonged to her. The key rattled in her shaky hand as she opened the heavy wooden door for the first time since the funeral. The room was like a time capsule. His papers were still stacked neatly. A cracked photograph of the two of them sat on the desk, back when love still meant something. But behind the desk, hidden under a pile of old ledgers, she found something strange. A black leather briefcase, dusky, sealed with a rusted clasp. Her breath caught. Raymond used to carry that briefcase everywhere. He'd said it held his work secrets. She had never dared open it before. Now, alone in the quiet storm, she did. Inside were some yellowed files, a fountain pen, and at the bottom, an envelope marked for legal use only. Her heart thumped. It was another will. The date on it was from last year, just 6 months before he died. She frowned. The official will, the one read by the lawyer after his death, had left everything, house, savings, and business shares to her. But this one named someone else. To bequeath all my remaining assets to Miss Eleanor Hart. Her hand trembled. Who was Eleanor Hart? She had never heard that name in her life. The paper felt too fresh, the ink still dark. Raymond's signature looked real, his handwriting, no mistake about it. She whispered, "Who are you, Eleanor?" The storm outside howled louder, like it wanted to drown the question. That night she didn't sleep. She sat in the study until dawn, staring at that paper, her mind spiraling. Was it a forgery? Or had Raymond kept a secret, even from his own wife? By morning, curiosity had turned to obsession. She made herself coffee, black and bitter like her thoughts. She opened her laptop, old, slow, still using an outdated browser. She typed Eleanor Hart, Raymond Wilson into the search bar. Nothing. Then she tried just Eleanor Hart, London. A few results came up. A charity worker, a nurse, a missing person from 1993. The name echoed through the years like a ghost. But one link caught her attention, a small obituary note dated 10 years ago. In loving memory of Eleanor Hart, age 52, beloved mother and artist, survived by her daughter, Lily. Auntie Viv's lips parted. Mother, daughter. Was Raymond connected to them somehow? She checked the will again. The line below the signature read, Executor, Lily Hart. Her hands froze. Lily, that name, it sounded familiar. She reached for an old photo album, dusty, forgotten on the shelf. She flipped through the pages until she stopped at one photo from a family picnic long ago. There, In the background was a young woman standing by the fence, smiling. Raymond's arm was resting casually around her shoulder. She felt her stomach twist. "No," she whispered. Her husband had told her the woman was a friend's daughter. Now it all made sense. The will, the secrecy, the late-night calls. He hadn't left her everything. He'd left it to his other family. Tears blurred her vision, but anger burned hotter. Decades of loyalty, years of silence, and he had betrayed her even after death. But then something even stranger struck her. If Eleanor Hart had died 10 years ago, who was this Lily Hart now named as executor? And why hadn't the lawyer mentioned this second will? Auntie Viv's grief twisted into suspicion. Had someone tampered with the estate? She picked up the phone and called Raymond's old lawyer, Mr. Clark. The man's voice was calm, professional. "Mrs. Wilson, we handled only one will, the one filed 2 years ago. There was never a later version." Her voice trembled. "But I found one, dated last year. It's signed." A long pause. Then the lawyer said quietly, "That's impossible. Mr. Raymond never came to the office after that, and if such a document exists, it's not in our records. Would you like to bring it in, Mrs. Wilson?" She hesitated. Her instincts screamed no. Something about his tone felt wrong, too eager. She hung up, and for the first time she realized maybe this wasn't just about betrayal. Maybe someone wanted that will to disappear. Who do you think Eleanor really was? Type in the comments, do you believe Raymond lived a double life? The next morning, Auntie Viv couldn't shake the uneasy feeling crawling under her skin. She made herself some tea, too sweet, too strong, and stared out at the garden. The roses Raymond planted last spring were dying just like everything else he left behind. Her mind replayed the lawyer's voice. That's impossible. But she had the document. She could feel its weight. What if Mr. Clark already knew about the second will and had hidden it? Creaking floorboards, she went back to the study and opened the briefcase again. Beneath the false bottom, she found something else. An old cassette tape, marked only with a date, June 14. Her old cassette player still sat in the attic. She dusted it off, slid in the tape and pressed play. Then the tape stopped with a soft click. Silence, then thunder outside. Her hand shook. What documents? Who would come after it? Suddenly, she heard something outside, footsteps on gravel. She peeked through the window curtain. A black car was parked across the street. No one got out. The engine idled quietly. Her heart began to pound. She shut the curtains and double-locked the door. Later that evening, she called her neighbour Tom, who lived 2 houses down. Tom had been Raymond's business partner for years, a tall man with sharp eyes and a habit of asking too many questions. "Tom," she said, voice trembling slightly, "did Raymond ever mention someone named Eleanor Hart?" There was a long pause. Then Tom cleared his throat. "Viv, I think you should let the past stay buried." Her chest tightened. "So, you do know her?" He sighed. "We all did once. But Raymond, he was in deep trouble back then. Things got messy." "What do you mean, messy?" He lowered his voice. There was money missing from the company, a lot of it. He blamed a woman named Eleanor. Then she disappeared. No one saw her again. A chill ran down my spine. Disappeared? You mean she died? He hesitated. The police said accident, but some of us didn't believe that. The phone crackled. Before I could ask more, the call cut off. Dead silence. She looked out the window again. The black car was gone. That night, sleep didn't come. Instead, she replayed the tape in her mind. Raymond's fear, his warning. If Viv finds this, please forgive me. Forgive him for what? She opened the will again.
Auntie Viv sat frozen, the phone still pressed to her ear. That voice, soft but steady, carrying a strange familiarity. "Lily, how did you get my number?" The young woman replied calmly, "Your husband left it on a note in the old briefcase. I found it weeks ago." Weeks ago? That meant that Lily had already been inside Raymond's things before she even knew of the second will. Her heart began to race. "What do you want from me?" There was a pause. Then Lily said quietly, "The truth about what happened to my mother." Auntie Viv's grip tightened on the phone. "You think I know?" Lily's voice trembled slightly. "I think you found something. I think my father left you the proof." The line went dead before Viv could answer. For a long moment she sat still, listening to the hum of the rain. Then she looked down at the table, at Raymond's confession, still damp, the ink beginning to smear. She had proof that could destroy her husband's legacy, her own peace, and maybe even her safety. But deep inside she knew Lily deserved to know the truth. That evening she dressed in her grey wool coat and drove toward the old train station cafe Lily had mentioned in her text. A small, forgotten place, dim lights, chipped cups, and a faint smell of coffee and dust. Lily sat by the window. She looked to be in her early 20s, with the same deep-set eyes Raymond once had. Her expression was calm, but her hands fidgeted slightly, betraying nerves. "Mrs. Wilson," she greeted softly. "Viv," Auntie Viv corrected. "Just Viv." They sat across from each other. The silence stretched between them like a tight rope. Finally, Lily said, "I know my father wasn't a good man. My mother told me enough before she died, but she never said why she kept forgiving him." Viv looked down at her cup. "Because sometimes love blinds you to the monster standing beside you." Lily nodded, eyes glistening. "So, you found the will?" Viv hesitated, then reached into her bag and pulled out the sealed confession. "I found more than that." She slid the envelope across the table. Lily's eyes widened as she read the first few lines. Tears welled up. Her voice broke. "He killed her!" Viv nodded slowly. "And Clark helped him hide it. That man is still out there watching us." Lily's face hardened. "Then we make sure he doesn't get away this time." The next few days, the two women met secretly. Viv told her everything, the briefcase, the cassette, the storage unit. Lily in turn revealed that Clark had contacted her a month ago, claiming he had unfinished business related to her father's estate. He'd even offered her money to stay quiet. Now it all made sense. Clark had been watching both of them, waiting for the right time to erase every trace of Raymond's crime. But Auntie Viv wasn't going to let that happen. That night the women decided to meet again at Viv's house to hand the evidence to the police together. But as Viv pulled into her driveway, something felt wrong. The front door was slightly open. Front door creak, wind howls. She froze. She was certain she had locked it before leaving. "Lily," she whispered, clutching her phone, "something's wrong. Don't come here yet." She stepped inside. The lights were off. only the flicker of the street lamp spilling through the curtains. The study door stood ajar. She pushed it open slowly. Papers were scattered across the floor, drawers pulled out, the briefcase missing. And on her desk, written in black ink, was a single word: "Stay quiet." Her knees nearly buckled. Clark had been there. She called Lily, but there was no answer. Panic surged. What if Clark had gone after her instead? She grabbed her coat and keys and rushed back outside, only to stop short. A car was parked across the street again, the same black car. This time the driver's door opened. Clark stepped out, holding the missing briefcase in his hand. "Mrs. Wilson," he said calmly, "you really shouldn't have left this alone." She backed away, heart hammering. "You can't keep hiding the truth forever." He smirked. "Truth? People don't want truth, Viv. They want peace. And I'm here to make sure everyone stays at peace." From behind him, a second door opened. Lily stepped out, her expression unreadable. "Viv," her voice cracked, "what are you doing?" Clark placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "She came to me, Mrs. Wilson. Said she didn't trust you. Said you were planning to blame her mother's death on your husband alone." "That's not true." Lily looked down. "You lied to me. You hid his confession. No, I was protecting you." But Clark interrupted, voice cold. "Enough. Hand it over, Viv, the original letter." Her breath hitched. "He knew I'd made a copy." He reached into his coat pocket, clutching the envelope. "If you want it, you'll have to take it from me." Clark's jaw tightened. So be it. Before he could move, Lily stepped forward. "Wait!" She turned to Clark. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were filled with quiet rage. "You think I didn't know who you were, Mr. Clark? My mother told me before she died you weren't just Dad's lawyer, you were his partner in everything, including the night she died." Clark froze. "And now you're going to pay for it." She pulled something from her coat, a small voice recorder, and pressed play. Raymond's confession echoed into the cold night air. "I never meant for it to happen. The fight went too far. Clark helped him hide it." Clark's face turned pale. From down the street, a police car's siren wailed. Lily looked at Auntie Viv and gave a small nod. "You weren't the only one keeping a secret." Auntie Viv exhaled shakily, relief and shock washing over her. Clark turned to run, but the flashing blue lights stopped him in his tracks. Officers rushed forward, shouting commands. He dropped the briefcase. Papers flew everywhere. And just like that, it was over. Later that night, Viv sat with Lily in the quiet of the living room. The tension had lifted, replaced with something strange. Peace. Lily turned to her. "I don't know what to do now." Viv smiled faintly. "You start fresh. You take what's rightfully yours, and maybe you forgive a little." Lily looked at her with teary eyes. "You really loved him?" Viv nodded slowly. "Even monsters can be loved." They both sat in silence, listening to the rain wash the darkness away. But just as Viv began to relax, something caught her attention on the table, the cassette tape she'd played days ago. Except this one had a new label. June 21, Final. Her blood ran cold. She'd never seen that one before. She pressed play. If you're hearing this, then Clark wasn't the only one keeping secrets. The voice wasn't Raymond's. It was Lily's.